brother Cazembe, how are you?
I'm great, Chief Amachi.
I wanted to bring you to this tree because I wanted to show you some of the hidden aspects of nature. When you look at this tree, what are some of the things that you see in this tree?
I see eldership, I see wisdom, I see the ancestors, and I see strength and power.
Those are very good observations. You know, what I want to show you is, or what I want to reveal is that trees hold secrets, and they hold the secrets of the movement, the mentality and the personality that exists in nature. Even though this tree seems to be stationary, in fact, in traditional knowledge, we teach of two movements. We teach of the stationary movement and we teach of the active movement. The best way to look at nature in some of these landscapes, according to traditional perspectives, is that if you were to imagine a wheel and you were to spin that wheel, and you were able to look at the spokes on that wheel, as you observe those spokes, they would appear to become stationary. But the truth is, in fact, they're actually moving very quickly. So quickly that they're actually able to occupy more than one space at a time, including the spaces within your being. So the interesting thing here is that the clans of Xi-Tobu, which is the clan out of the northern regions of Ghana, which is an extension of the Dagomba culture, they have an interesting intercultural relationship to the indigenous community here in the Americas, which are the Shi-Omex. And the Shi-Omex, the word Shi, many anthropologists identify this word to mean tree. They identify this word to mean tree. So the interesting thing here is that the tree is a totemic symbol of spirituality for us interculturally, not just here natively here in Americas, but throughout the diaspora and Africa. And we see the tree as a powerful totemic symbol that identifies the hidden movement of the life and mind that exists within nature.
Wow, that's fascinating. What is it that teaches this aspect? What is it? What is the system that teaches this that you are a part of?
Well, the tradition is called Tima Bukata. Tima means traditional medicine. It means roots, herbs, magic. Bukata, it means the spirits of protection and the world soul and the spirit powers of the earth. Tima Bukata is a science, according to traditional lore, that was actually given to flesh and blood beings by the gods themselves. Because Tima Bukata is the science of understanding how to extract the life, the mind, the personality, the attributes of the gods themselves that hide within the various hidden aspects of the subdivisions of nature. What most people call growth, maturity, non-growth, decline, death, the regulations, the limits, the emerging properties that exist in nature. All these things have hidden subdivisions, and within these hidden subdivisions are the life and mind of what most people have been calling the gods. And Timambukata is a science, according to traditional knowledge, that resurrects one back into the gods.
Wow, okay. So if one were to become initiated into Timambukata, what does that consist of? What is that structure? What would they get from that?
Initiation in Tima Bukata is very vast. First of all, the basics of the structure, if we can go over some of the structural methodology here, the structural methodology. The first aspect of being initiated in Tima Bukata is becoming what we call the Tinbihi, or the Tinbihi Paga. The Tinbihi or the Tinbihi Paga means a child of the land. So as we're talking about Tima Bukata, me demonstrating and showing you various aspects of the vegetation kingdom and so forth, you become reconnected with the land, reconnected with the forces, the minds, the life and the mind that exists within the land. That's the first. It's becoming the child of the land, the Timbihi. The second is what we call Tindana or Tindana Paga. Tindana or Tindana Paga means becoming a land king or land queen or land priest or land king, having the ability to become the king or the queen of the land by your knowledge of the movement and the Tigabani, the gods and the forces that exist within the land, and being able to extract those and use those, resurrecting yourself back into a land king or a land queen. So that's what we call Tindana or Tindanana. Then the next aspect is the Bulana or the Bulana Paga. The Bulana or Bulana Paga, it means the controller of the gods. Now many people are thrown off. They say, well, how can you control the gods? How is this? And what I explained to them that in Tima Bukata, the control of the gods means that you then have the ability to access the hidden aspects of the gods that have been dispersed through the various aspects or reflections of nature. Hence actually holding the tools of the gods, becoming the gods themselves through their power and their action. So you then become the gods, and then you also become the controllers of the forces of the gods. So so people have to get out of the mindset. You know, we have a lot of people that have a lot of religious perspectives, but these perspectives are dealing with the aspect of actually resurrecting yourself into the God by understanding how to obtain the attributes and then graft them to yourself to where you become those things through your actions, through your abilities, through your qualities, through your actions, through your movement.
Got you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay. Now you're talking about a couple things that really piqued my interest. You're talking about this land here, and I think as African Americans, we're typically getting initiated from systems that, of course, are connected to the mother continent, Ifa, Akan, Candomblé. So, two questions. Number one, is this a Native American science, indigenous Native American science? And the second question is, can you still be initiated into other systems and be initiated into Timbuktu?
Well, the truth of the matter is that according to ancient lore, the ancient lore of the Dagombas of Dagbang, which is out of the northern regions of Ghana, you have several different custodians of certain knowledge. A lot of those custodians that existed throughout the diaspora and on Africa, a lot of people, they were very mobile. Do you understand? So people traveled, and there have been a lot of custodians that hold the knowledge. So yes, there are people that can travel to Africa, but that knowledge also exists here. However, a lot of that knowledge is now seen by anthropology and is seen through certain contemporary scientific communities as the Olmecs. Native American culture. But the only problem there is that a lot of this culture, according to a lot of these experts, say that this knowledge is lost. But the truth of the matter is that this knowledge is not lost. Timbuktu is the science and the practice of the Xi-Tobu clans of West Africa. And what I'm saying is that Xi-Olmecs, that culture, that practice, the life and mind and the practice and the cultural and the spiritual identity of the Americas has been kept sacred and secret by the custodians of the clans of Xi-Tobu. So there's an actual intercultural relationship between the indigenous Aboriginal cultures in their spiritual practice of Americas and what's currently practiced now in Africa. The truth of the matter is that in Africa right now, it is still a living, vibrant culture, and it's been dismissed by a lot of people. However, that is the sacred and the secret teachings and the knowledge of the Xi-Olmecs and many of the Aboriginal spiritual cultures that were practiced here in the Americas and throughout the diaspora. So there's definitely a connection here. And understanding Timbuktu will give an individual the ability to practice this spirituality where they are, in the land that they're in, by the concepts of nature identity. Not just understanding the system, but understanding the principles of nature. Therefore, they could practice it whether they're here in the United States, or whether they're throughout the diaspora, or whether they're in Africa.
Very interesting. So it sounds like, in essence, I mean, you've said a whole lot here, Chief, that's quite profound. But it sounds like, in essence, you're saying that if you are an African American, this is a way to reconnect not only to our African roots, but to the soil on which we stand currently right now.
Absolutely, because there are a lot of intercultural connections that exist between the natives or the indigenous aboriginals of this land and that of Africa. So specifically, you have the Mendi. The Mendi and the Dagomba, the Masi and so forth have very close intercultural connections to the indigenous communities here in the Americas. And they go by the name of Xi. So anytime you see the word Xi, that word there is identifying several concepts, and one of them is the tree. And the word Xi, it means tree or tree people. And the tree people, what I'm trying to describe to you is, it's the science of the movement and the life and the mind that exists within the trees, within the vegetation kingdom. And the minds, the communities, the units, all of these groups of spiritual forces and so forth that exist within the hidden subdivisions of the tree. And these were some of our totemic symbols. So there's a very close connection between the clans of Xi-Tobu, which is the clans of Dagbang, which is the Dagombas, and then you have the Xi-Olmecs. They're related, they're one and the same. And the knowledge that they held of what we call the Paparaga, the dwarf spirits and so forth, all that knowledge is the same. And it's been held and it's been kept sacred and secret. And the custodians of that knowledge still exist, and they exist throughout the science of Timbuktu and the clans of Xi-Tobu out of West Africa.
This is incredible. I used to hear, reading certain history books, that there was a connection between Africa and Native America. but this is my first time hearing of a practice that really brings it together now and today. So this is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not only that, and then it's going to be, you know, our initiations are designed around not only the practical application of this science, but it's also the historical knowledge that exists there. Because
Excellent.
what most people are missing here and that they don't identify is that it is the cultural identity that can demonstrate the cultural continuity between the clans that are in the diaspora and the clans that are in Africa. But most people that are not involved in the interior aspects of the cultural practice, they're never going to be able to identify that because they don't have a true cultural identifying factor to relate it to. So my job here is to identify the cultural connection and to identify the principles that are going to reconnect us as a people, both on the diaspora and in Africa, by the concepts of nature identity. Because nature identity is what's going to be able to bring us together, because we're going to be able to have a system of nature identity that is, it's non-local. It's something that exists everywhere. And it's something that you can identify with, it's our brothers and sisters in Africa can identify with, the people that are indigenous to this land can identify with, and indigenous communities all around the world can identify with. Nature identity.
Chief Amachi, thank you so much for your knowledge and your wisdom. This has been incredible. Chief Amachi is hosting initiations. Stay tuned to his website, to his Facebook pages, and this is one of the chiefs in this nation that can reconnect you to the soil upon which you stand now to this day. Thank you so much, Chief Amachi. My name is Cazembe Abena.